Ladies and gentlemen, the GOP took up a day to defund the IRS. You heard what I said, defund the IRS. So here's why the House GOP made defunding the IRS its first priority. So this is the first bill up for this year. The GOP House first policy bill out of the gate didn't address inflation or prices or immigration, but instead went after the Internal Revenue Service. The bill passed Monday evening on a straight party line vote of 221 to 210 to reverse much of the $80 billion in extra funding set aside for the agency by 2022 Inflation Reduction Act. While it has little chance of it being enhanced anytime soon, the Democrats in control of the Senate and President Biden promised to veto it. The prominence of the issue shows how much the IRS has become a heated target of Republicans. That's experts saying the funds in question would go. So they got concerns over how these funds will be utilized by the IRS. Okay, what I think they're trying to do down from going after these wealthy tax cheats. That's what it's all about. They don't care about the small guy. So, anyway, the enhanced funding for the IRS is part of a broad Biden administration strategy to tax and audit more Americans. This is according to Rep. Adrian Smith, a Republican from Nebraska. As the debate got underway on Monday, he added that the bill stop autopilot funding for an out of control government agency that is perhaps most in need of reform. Speaker Kevin McCarthy then announced the final results of the votes once it had passed, noting that it had been a GOP promise. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. So defund the IRS. Isn't that something? All right. Plus, I think a lot of that came up about Joe Biden was going to, they were going to look at accounts that had a certain amount of money in it. And I think it was what, $600 or something like that. Yeah, a lot of people did not like that either. So I can see why they are doing this in a sense. Claims from countless Republicans, from Speaker McCarthy down, is that the influx of money will lead to a flood of 87,000 new IRS agents who will then, who will then turn and harass everyday Americans. Some critics of the agency go even further and claim the agents will be armed. But fact checkers have repeatedly debunked the claim. The agency itself pushed back, and Yahoo Finance Ed, then the IRS Commissioner Charles Redditt in August. He said the claims are absolutely false. I guess this is what he's calling the Republican claims false, adding his agency is often perceived as an easy target for mischaracterizations, but the new money will not lead to increased audit scrutiny households under $100,000. The plan is instead for much money to go towards the tax cheats. IRS estimates of the so called tax gap, the difference between what taxes are owed to the government and what is actually paid, is hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Much of the $80 billion will be focused on taking a bite out of the gap, focusing on wealthy taxpayers. Investment is projected to pay for itself and then bring over $100 billion in increased tax revenue over the coming decades. Well, look like your plans are scrapped for the IRS because they just shut you down in the House. See how this goes. I know a lot of people are not happy with the idea in general, but we shall see what happens. All right. So, by contrast, a new analysis from the Congressional Budget Office released Monday afternoon found that the net effect of the House GOP bill to defund the agency would increase the deficit by more than $14.3 billion over the coming decade if enacted. So I guess up to Joe Biden on, which he claims he's going to shut this down, but we shall see what happens. Mm-mm-mm. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.